Okay, so welcome back to the channel. Today is the first in a new series. It's the Recruitment Masterclass series. And we're going to teach you how to get buy-ins from candidates over the phone.
Matt, are we going to share all our secrets with our competitors?
I mean, not all of them, but yeah, all of them, yeah. So this video is going to focus on three main areas. We're going to look at the intro, the pitch, and finally the close. Before we get started though, I think we probably need to establish what do we mean by the buy-in, Alex?
So a buy-in in recruitment terms is when the candidate gives you permission to be represented by yourself as an agent and therefore send the application to the client.
Warning.
You'd never send candidates without getting the buy-in.
Absolutely. I know some people do in the market, but it's very naughty to do so.
You're grounded, mister.
Before we jump into the intro, let's clarify actually which kind of candidates and which kind of situation are we talking about, right? Usually you have two types of candidates in general. Candidates that you have a good relationship with, that you have dealt in the past, and candidates that are brand new. Maybe your team has spoken to, maybe the company has worked with, but you personally don't actually have that relationship. So this specific role play applies to candidates that you don't have a relationship with.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go.
So Matt, how do we begin the call?
Well, the intro should be really simple and clean. So the intro would be, for example, hi, I'm Matt Nichols from Cornerstone Recruitment Japan. I've got an excellent role which I'd like to talk to you about today. So even though that may seem very simple, actually I think most recruiters in the Tokyo market get that bit wrong, right?
Exactly.
How do most recruiters do that?
So unfortunately, what a lot of recruiters do is say, hey, my name is Alex, I'm calling from Cornerstone Recruitment Japan. Do you have a minute to talk?
Yeah, so
We lost our patience a lot of times, I think, when we hear people in the office doing that.
yeah, you should never ask a candidate, do you have time to talk? It may sound polite, right? And it is polite, I guess. But they've answered the phone. So if somebody answers the phone, and we're going to talk about this in a little more detail later, they definitely have time to talk. Do not give the candidate the opportunity to say no, because when they say no, that phone call is over. If you do the intro exactly as we've told you, the call is going to go one of two ways. The first way is the positive way, and the candidate is receptive to the call and is giving you time to talk, right? If that's the case and you have a little bit of time, then actually you need to re-qualify the candidate a little bit. It may have been 3 to 6 months since you've spoken to that person. So in that case, there are 4 things that you need to consider. Number 1, is the candidate still on the market? Are they a mover? Number 2, are the salary requirements that you have for that candidate, are they still applicable? Maybe they got a pay rise, their expectations have changed, it's been a while since you spoke to them. Number 3, just briefly re-qualify the kind of position they're looking for. If a candidate has been promoted, maybe they're now looking for a senior manager role rather than a manager role. Number 4, which companies are they currently interviewing with? How active are they out there in the market?
Unfortunately though, most of the time you're gonna get the negative reaction from the candidates, right?
Yeah.
So the 4 most common reactions you're gonna get from the candidates are, number 1, I'm not looking for a job. Number 2, I just found a new job, so I'm not looking for a job. Number 3, I'm busy. And number 4, I'm in a meeting.
So, how do we handle these 4 objections?
So let's tackle them one by one, okay? So the point number 1 is, I'm not a mover, okay? So the best way to handle that is, first of all, get the conversation going, by using open questions, So why you're not a mover? When did you change job last? Or what would be the ideal position that could tempt you actually in making a move?
Yeah, and I think the last thing to remember when somebody's not a mover is to ask them for referrals. It's a really great chance, right? So the question you ask to get a referral is, okay, I understand you may be not a mover right now, but who do you know in your professional network that might be interested in this position? And sometimes you can generate some great extra candidates and make something out of the call when it seems like you've got nothing.
Absolutely. So now, let's talk about how to handle point number 2, which is, I recently found a new job.
Yeah.
It's very simple, so let's start to ask questions regarding the timing of that job change. So if the timing is recent, this is a great opportunity for yourself to find the lead, So of course, if the person recently changed a job, like a couple of weeks ago or a month ago, there is a strong opportunity that his or her previous company are actually still looking for a candidate to backfill that position, right? In that case, you should gather the information, pick up the phone, give a call to the previous company and tell them that you have some great candidates that you can introduce straight away.
You might also want to say congratulations on getting the new job. Also, you want to ask for referrals, just like we told you in point number 1.
So now we're going to tackle point number 3 and number 4 together because it's basically the same objection, So the objection is, I'm busy, I'm in a meeting, right?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much nobody picks up the phone in a meeting, especially in Japan. I mean, Japanese people are very polite.
They'll be very rude.
Yeah, it never happens. Right? And if you've got time to pick up the phone, you're not busy. It's just that maybe you don't want to speak to a recruiter and it's a reason not to talk to you. So
there is a simple way, I think, to go through this process, which is basically to force yourself gently into the conversation, right?
Yeah.
So maybe let's role play it a little bit, Matt.
Yeah, it's really simple. So I can be the person making the call. So, hi Alex, this is Matt from Cornerstone Recruitment Japan. I've got a fantastic role which I'd like to introduce to you today.
Sorry, I'm busy. I'm in a meeting, mate.
Don't worry, I'll keep it quick. And then into the pitch.
Beautiful.
Well, that's how it should go. But unfortunately, again, I really think that most recruiters in this market don't handle those objections that way. Maybe we can give an example of how, typically a bad example of how that call would go.
So I'm going to be the bad recruiter in this case?
You'll be the bad recruiter,
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So, hi Matt, this is Alex from Cornerstone Recruitment Japan. I have a great job that I would like to introduce you.
I'm sorry, I'm actually in a meeting.
Sure, when is the best time to call you back?
Yeah, give me a call around 6 o'clock tonight.
All right, no worries, thank you.
That's bad. All right, so next we're going to talk about the pitch itself. The 5 things you really have to nail if you want to do a good pitch are as follows. Okay, so number 1, the energy and the positivity around the pitch has to be high. You set the tempo, you've got to get the candidate excited. Number 2, you need to tell them what the job title is off the bat. That's the starting point for the pitch to flow. Number 3, you want to have a description of the company that you're actually selling and some of the really key points about working there. Number 4, you're going to have a tailored description of the job itself and the responsibilities which match what the candidate wants to do and what they want to achieve in their career. Number 5, you're going to ask a closing question at the end of the pitch to get the buy-in. Okay, so Alex, how might that structure sound in kind of the flow of a job pitch?
Okay, let's go.
Hi Matt, this is Alex. I'm calling from Cornerstone Recruitment Japan. How are you today?
I'm good.
Great. Well, Matt, I wanted to give a quick call because I have a really exciting opportunity for a managing director role.
Wow, okay.
This is an Italian company. It's privately owned, which I think is something you mentioned you wanted and you were interested in last time, right? It's high-end luxury, okay? It's a footwear brand company. I'm sure your wife knows about that brand.
I'm sure she does,
right? So, in regards of the company, so they have a 50 people business in Japan. They have around 15 to 20 stores.
Okay.
The company has been very stable. They had one managing director for the last 10 years.
Yep.
The current managing director is a Japanese person, very international. But the HQ, they just want to bring a little bit of a different vibe. They feel that the business has been a little bit stale. So they just want to bring someone in really strong in 2 things, marketing and store development, which I think is your forte, right? Salary of the job, again, is I think it's very competitive. I think you're right now on around 30 million, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
I think there is a lot of flexibility about the package. It's not the kind of company that is going to throw money at you, just to make it clear.
Okay.
But I can certainly work you out with a nice package, I think, if of course the interview
I trust you,
is going well. Good, so I think if that is cool with you, man, I think we can just move forward and I'll send your application today.
Perfect.
Great.
Okay, so that's an example of how the pitch might sound. Now, basically one of 2 things is going to happen. Either the candidate's going to say, yes, I want to apply, or no, I don't want to apply. Now, if you get the no, I think we're not going to do a whole, it's kind of almost another training session, but
Yeah.
you need to find out why and try and reposition the role so that they actually want to apply, right? Number two, and this is the most common answer after you've done a pitch that you're going to get in Japan, is the candidate will say to you, sounds good, but I would like to see the job description before I decide to apply or not, right? It's a really Japan-specific objection. You do get it in other countries, but in this market...
It's very prominent in Japan.
Yeah, maybe 80% of the time. Why is the job description your enemy, not your friend?
Not your friend. Well, it's very simple because, a job description sometimes can, first of all, be inaccurate. It's written by people that, maybe an HR department that sits really far away from, the local market like Japan. So it might be vague, inaccurate. It doesn't really give you an idea of actually what really the job is. I think another reason, which is very specific to the Japan market and to the, I think, psychology of Japanese people, sometimes job descriptions are really ambitious. They will require, let's say, 10 years of recruitment experience in one specific area, right? A lot of Japanese people, if they have 9.5 years of experience, they will feel not ready for that job, right? So a lot of candidates, they will auto-reject themselves, even if they're actually really, really good for the job.
It's a great point. I think it's a cultural thing. We both recruited in London where the opposite is true. So if a candidate who's underqualified looks at a job description, they
will
think,
go for it, yeah.
I can do it. No problems, which is why you get sales executives applying to CEO roles in England. In Japan, it's the exact opposite. Most candidates read the job description and they look for reasons why they're not qualified and reasons why they don't want to apply. So in either market, you need to take control of the pitch. You're the best person to sell the company, sell the job. Don't rely on a document to do that for you. So in the final segment of this masterclass, we're going to talk about the close. And the close in this case is how to handle that JD or job description objection. Okay, so for the close, I think this happens right at the end of the pitch, right? We're going to pick up that point that we left off. So we're going to talk about when I ask you, do you want to apply? And you say no, send me the JD. We're going to give you now an example of how to handle that situation. Okay, so Alex, do you want to apply for the job?
I mean, it sounds good, Matt, but listen, why don't you send me the JD? I'll have a look over the weekend and I'll let you know next week, all right?
Yeah, no, I think that's, it sounds reasonable, but actually, typically I don't work with JDs. And with this client in particular, I have a fantastic relationship with the managing director. In fact, I have a call scheduled with him at 6 o'clock tonight. So what I'd like to do, and I think that there's nothing to lose here, let me have a chat with him about your background, Alex. Let's see if he's interested first. And if he is, then I can come back to you, we can schedule the first interview. What do you think?
All right, let's go.
Okay, so that's kind of a clean example, right, of how to do it. I think it's very assumptive. You're telling the candidate what's going to happen in a nice and professional way. And if you follow that, you will get significantly more buy-in.
Warning.
There will still be some situations where you do everything perfectly and the candidate still insists on you sending the job description. That's fine. But this is a numbers game over a year. You do hundreds and hundreds of pitches. So if you get everyone technically correct, you take the candidate down the path that you want to take them, you will have much more success, get more buy-ins, get more interviews, and make more money.
So, to all competitors out there, if you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and hit the like button.
Yeah, and leave us some nice comments.